Hi Jen, here's my chapters 1 through 11. Chapter 1 is about human communication. I'm going to talk about the misconception number 3 of communication, which I feel is important, which is that communication solves all conflict. I've learned to understand that communication is not a guarantee of success, as with the second misconception that more communication is better. Sometimes the motive and purpose of one's communication can cause additional or greater conflict. With this understanding, I have improved my success of utilizing communication to strengthen, build, and improve my life. Further, it's been an important thing to know when and where it is appropriate to input my personal opinions or to keep them to myself. In Chapter 2, having a healthy self concept and positive self esteem leads to my important concept from this chapter. The concept of self fulfilling prophecy has always been an important part and staple of my personal vision. A self fulfilling prophecy, of course, is projecting a thought, projecting a mindset that you want to happen, and the idea that it's going to happen. I have high expectations for myself, of course, and through the years, I have made many good decisions and realizations based on my self fulfilling prophecies. I am in the middle of my most current one. I have a vision for myself that is ambitious, and I believe I will achieve it. But I am fully aware that it's not going to come true if I don't work hard at it. So, by setting my goals and working hard, I hope I can be an outstanding achiever. Chapter 3 is about learning to listen effectively. Um, and learning to listen effectively is my concept of value. The text simplifies listening into two categories: pleasurable and informative listening. As students, we can best improve our informative listening to make the largest difference. One of the techniques to informative listening that relates to my life is the concept of seeking to understand the message. I'm a big note taker, and this is a big reason for it. Seeking to understand the message, as opposed to the many details that we are given, allows me personally to interpret the concept, develop my own questions, and connect with the material and the point of the lecture. In Chapter 4, the concept of language being both structured and abstract is the heart of understanding language and consequent communication in any situation. Having lived abroad in a Spanish-speaking country, I understand the importance of structure, the order and grammar of words, with the abstract nature of language, and was a crucial part of communicating with people there. By understanding the triangle of meaning involved in the extractness of communication, we can more readily adapt to the idea that words and things create more abstract meaning and mean different things to every individual. For instance, a limon in Honduras is a lime. In Chapter 5, we spent a lot of time discussing proxemics and nonverbal communication. The concept of nonverbal and verbal congruence is the chapter concept I feel important to stress. Basically, this is referring to a mismatch in our verbal and nonverbal communication. Relating to student life, working in groups is frustrating in part to incongruence. There's been many other times in my life where I've agreed to do something that I wasn't excited about. In these instances, it is important to check my nonverbals and make sure that my verbal commitment is in line with what I'm saying without saying anything. Like, did I show up on time? Was I helpful? Uh, did I check my phone a lot? Did I look at the time? These things say a lot more than we think without saying a word. Chapter 6 talks about the importance of intimacy. We all know the general concept of intimacy, of course, as it pertains to love and attraction. However, I've found that a more open definition of intimacy really affects interpersonal communication. By being more open to disclose and share to others, appropriately with the filter, of course, I have made stronger, more intimate relations with people, and have felt much more connected with them than keeping my personality behind closed doors. And this doesn't even matter if I will ever see them again. Of course, appropriate. And people are usually pretty kind in return. Chapter 7 has a concept that has great importance to me as well. The concept of rhetorical sensitivity is not difficult in its definition, but I really feel it defines how one communicates with others on a whole. Communication, as we know, has many discrete and unique aspects, and each personality presents a different set of these. By being rhetorically sensitive, one understands the audience better, respects the place and surroundings therein, and can adapt the message to present an appropriate and proper meaning. Traveling for 6 months, I witnessed a lot of people unable to fully understand this, and I don't feel it was completely cultural. A rhetorically sensitive person in these situations would be able to adapt and modify communication across cultural barriers to communicate and connect with the world. I feel I am pretty rhetorically sensitive, and in this instance created a more fulfilling and creative experience than many of those that I ended up traveling with, unfortunately. For Chapter 8, I'm going to emphasize the general importance of becoming a better public speaker, as this whole chapter is based upon. As a teacher, graphic designer, and student, I have been presented with situations where I was required to present and speak in front of many others, many of whom I've known and many who I haven't. I've learned that whether interviewing someone or presenting materials, the skills of public speaking are of great importance and will greatly affect aspirations and outcomes. In a recent interview, I tried hard to embody these principles. I found clarity in these thoughts and am satisfied with my representation. Chapter 9 is about the creation of a presentation. Again, as a graphic designer, I have done a lot of these from scratch. My valuable concept from the chapter is the concept of simplicity. Republicans made this term famous through straight talk during a certain Alaskan's running. However, it is important and is one thing I always have to edit in my papers and presentations. I tend to start much more complex than I need, and people get confused. By proactively thinking simple in visual aids, resumes, and presentations, I have found that I can more easily focus on the most critical nugget of information. A simple concept with a challenging execution. Again, more does not mean better. In Chapter 10, we learned about becoming an informative speaker. It emphasized the importance of clarity, similar to Chapter 9's simplicity, accuracy, relevance, and creativity. I personally connect with the creativity aspect because the others seem rather straightforward. As an inspiring advertising ninja, as I call it, finding that creative angle that will engage audience is part of the puzzle I love about marketing and advertising, and graphic design, synonymously. This applies well to developing speeches and becoming a great speaker. I feel effort towards thinking creatively results in a unique approach that resonates interest from creator to audience. Chapter 11 is all about persuasion through persuasive speaking. The most valuable concept from this chapter, for me, is the idea and philosophy that persuasion is a historic and symbolic process that aims to influence others. I feel deeply connected to this again as I work towards a career where I get to positively influence and hopefully lead others. By learning persuasion and embodying the rhetorical triangle of ethos, trust, pathos, imagination, and logos, consistency, I hope to be able to persuade and be an influence in others' lives. In a sense, this is a complete picture of communication, being able to persuade through understanding and empathizing the audience, tailoring words and nonverbals to generate meaning and create action, no matter what the purpose. Chapters 1 through 11. As for my I statements, 11 things that I love about myself. Tyler, I love your strength. Um, not just physical, but mental. The things that you've gone through, um, depression, and just the things you've had to fight to overturn and make through. I love that you are a student of life. That you search for things to learn in every instance and make yourself better, and hopefully the world a better place. I love the empathy you embody for other people, whether they realize it or not. Um, I know you quite well and feel that you really do understand people and are extremely empathetic to their feelings. I love your athleticism that allows you to enjoy the things that you enjoy and be active, play with your dog, go on a hike. I love your optimism in yourself in situations, even when it's critical, I know I know that it's optimism. I love your creativity and the way that you can think critically. I love your work ethic and am confident in every situation that no matter what, I know that you're going to show up and try your best to do your best in that status quo, and just being ordinary is not going to do. I love how you bounce back from disappointment and strive through to learn to learn about yourself and improve. Um, I love I love how you love others completely and genuinely. I love how you cook food and take pride in eating things that are good for you and good for your brain because they taste great. And ultimately, I love the vision of the future that you have for yourself. So thank you, Jen. Thank you for a great semester, and we'll see you around.